How to Win Friends and Influence People is a book I often find referenced by texts seeking to develop social skills. Dale Carnegie offers a collection of stories he gathered throughout his life to support dozens of principles he believes are essential for hearing others, being heard, and inciting action. While many of these stories lack precise sourcing, rendering the lessons unscientific, they nonetheless provide a framework for navigating the nature of human relationships. The book's teachings remain speculative, open to the possibility of becoming dated as societal norms shift. At one point, Carnegie suggests that if you are content with your current state, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not, why not experiment? This call to action is one of the book's greater teachings. The relatable stories might bolster one's confidence and encourage active listening and genuine engagement. In a similar vein, the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching has expressed that even in fields as technical as engineering, 85% of financial success is attributed to what might be called human engineering, the blend of personality, leadership, and interpersonal skills. This insight underscores the practical value of Carnegie's teachings, bridging the gap between soft skills and tangible financial outcomes. A lingering question remains after I finish this book. Many of the qualities Carnegie advocates for, qualities that must be genuinely embodied, have seeped into public consciousness over the decades. The tactics he describes, such as offering pleasantries like, "Would you kindly?" might not always yield the positive effects he promises, perhaps because people have grown wary or even cynical of overt influence. It's worth considering whether the book's prolonged popularity over the past 75 years has contributed to a certain tolerance to its methods. I do believe that How to Win Friends and Influence People offers a wealth of sound advice. However, it tends to overlook the potential detriments of its own approach. The stories, though compelling, are presented with an almost guaranteed success, ignoring the realities where even a silver tongue fails to sway outcomes. In the real world, success is not assured. There are times when people cannot be persuaded, when financial constraints limit opportunities, or when systemic issues like an employer's refusal to pay fairly their workers might be at play. By omitting these potential pitfalls, Carnegie's work risks overstating the efficacy of its methods, especially when held against the evolving standards and expectations of time. Many of the practices Carnegie outlines are more comprehensively distilled in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. While Carnegie's work often centers on the idea of winning and flattery as prerequisites for success, Covey's approach is decidedly more balanced, emphasizing the importance of win-win situations and mutual benefit. The shift in perspective from a one-sided pursuit of personal gain to a more equitable and sustainable model of influence reflects a broader evolution in our understanding of what it takes to truly succeed in both personal and professional arenas. I want to take a moment and note some things that I felt would have benefited this book. Some choices felt overtly promotional, like the deliberate alteration of the author's name's spelling to match closer to the business magnate Andrew Carnegie. The recommendation by the author to read each chapter twice, and his other recommendation and insistence on writing notes directly in the textbook also seemed off. These decisions felt like calculated sales tactics, from changing his name to asking you to modify and affect the value of your copy might have been choices to sell and keep the books selling, as well as they have over the last 75 years. Another important aspect is the nature of happiness itself. The book emphasizes external actions and influences as keys to winning friends and influencing others. It could have delved deeper into the concept that true happiness comes from within. A more balanced treatment would acknowledge that the inner work necessary to maintain happiness often varies in response to external factors, and recognize the dynamic interplay between our inner world and the environments around us. The text also highlights certain historical figures, such as Rockefeller and Black, in a manner that seems to applaud their methods during labor strikes. By framing their actions as triumphs over adversity, the narrative ends up endorsing strategies that may exploit vulnerable workers, and turn genuine struggles for fair compensation into textbook stories of corporate manipulation. A more critical perspective would address the ethical implications of these actions and invite readers to ask whether success achieved at the expense of workers' rights really aligns with the ideals of mutual respect and fairness. Further, the author suggests that we should avoid achieving things on the grounds others might feel envious and inadequate. In practice, witnessing someone's success can often be inspiring and motivating. So why would we limit ourselves in that way? The text also doesn't seem to address how other people are using these tactics against you. While it offers guidance on offensively using them, it fails to adequately address defensive strategies and what to look out for. This inclusion would provide a more rounded discussion, preparing readers not only to influence others, but also to recognize and resist when they are being manipulated. In addressing these points, the text could have achieved a greater depth and balance, one that not only offers strategies for influence, but also critically examines the implications and ethical considerations behind them. I wanted to share a few more teachings as well, which I did appreciate that the book had to offer, and I believe are worth keeping in mind. One is a focus on praise instead of fault. It's often much easier to point out mistakes in others than to find ways to praise them, and ourselves. Psychologist B.F. Skinner found that positive reinforcement often works better for change. So why criticize ourselves or others when we can offer praise? Find the silver linings in what people are doing well. Another topic is empathy in criticism. As Abraham Lincoln once said, "Do not criticize them. They are just what we would be under similar circumstances." It's important to try to understand someone's situation but before trying to be understood ourselves. This approach helps to find solutions through open communication rather than finding blame to place. Another topic mentioned is the human desire to feel important. Understand that we all might want to find importance or purpose in life. And when communicating with others, try to value them and give them a sense of feeling valued. And do it sincerely. Show them why they are important to you and in the world. We only have one life to live, and each moment we can only live once. Why not try to live those moments spreading good and kindness? Another small but meaningful thing is to remember the two very simple things about a person: their name and their birthday. Wishing someone a happy birthday nowadays can be as simple as a text, very cheap time-wise, and we often carry calendars in our phones in our pockets. Wishing a simple happy birthday can be very significant to another and very easy to implement. Another teaching is that winning an argument doesn't always mean you've won someone's goodwill. Often the fact that someone is willing to argue with you shows that they care about the topic just as much as you do. And if you win, it doesn't mean they're going to be happy to support your side. It's important for people to save face. Try to face arguments by understanding what excites the other person about the topic and what is important to them about it. And perhaps you can find some common ground. As Abraham Lincoln put it, "A drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall." The book also mentions the Socratic method, which apparently is a trick to build momentum towards the answer you're looking for. If you want somebody to say yes to a specific question, do not start with that question. Start with simple questions that are expected to get a yes answer, and after asking them a few times and getting the other person to say yes, they might be more likely to be open-minded to your following question, instead of immediately saying no. And further, people tend to trust ideas that they develop themselves, more than ideas that are simply given to them. Often, it can feel better for us to come up with a solution than it does to follow an order. Perhaps instead of telling somebody to do something, ask them questions where their answers might lead them to the solution. Overall, I thought this book was interesting. Some parts did feel outdated, but some teachings seemed timeless.